All is mind, the world is mental, and everything is connected in unity. Everything that is one, and everyone contains everything that is. Today we will look at the third law of existence, which is one of the most important.
The fact that we are united answers so many questions. It responds to the fact that we know everything about everyone. And here comes the question. How do we both know it and at the same time claim that we don't know it? By focusing on the limitation that we are, we seem to forget that we originate from the potential that all information has. And in fact, this forgetfulness of ours is the desire to look individual and unique in our own eyes. But we anyway stretch individual space-time, individual energy, and individual meaning, stake in our limitation what exactly to explore. I.e., we can't help but be individual and unique.
I just want to add something here. Since you explain it from a physicist's point of view, I would explain it very simply. Masses of people strive to be perfect. They look for the perfect ideal, a person or an idol, to be perfect, and they follow it. They think that certain people are perfect. And for me, the simplest explanation is the following: because they say that no one is perfect. Right? Not so for me. Each of us is perfect in our imperfection. And since there is no one else like us, each one of us is individual and unique. Is there a chance? How can you compare yourself to someone when there is no one else like you in the entire universe? You know?
Yes.
And in that regard, you are perfect, because there is no other.
There is no other like you. You are unique, ideal, perfect, unrepeatable.
That's what I want to say. How is it possible to compare ourselves and look for perfection outside of ourselves when there never was and never will be another like us?
The unwillingness to realize that we are in unity, one is us. Ideal perfection would be achieved if we were all together for a common information field. Think it over. Together for a common information field, that is, each of us as our individuality and uniqueness, plus the grasses, plus the objects, plus everything that is around us, collected into a whole, represents all the information about the experienced ignorance, plus the potential of knowledge itself. There it is, perfect. If this perfect lacks even one unit, even one element, will it be ideal perfectionism, or will it be ideal perfectionism without one element?
Yes.
Well, it's just not the ideal perfectionism.
But there's no ideal perfectionism then.
Seen from whose point of view? From the point of view of limitation or from the point of view of potential? If we look at it from the perspective of potential, each one of us is individual and unique and is complementary to all others to be all that we are.
And if we look at it from the perspective of limitation?
If we look from the point of view of limitation, limitation experiences itself only if it exists in all that is, because otherwise it itself as limitation would be meaningless. And then the constraint would have to reason the same way. Me without all that is meaningless to exist, but I am the perfect complement so that all that is can be all that is, and then we ourselves will consider ourselves individual, unique and indeed perfect complements to all which is.
And actually, it's very important here, I think, to put in that A lot of people who watch the channel and write messages and emails how they think that, or they don't deserve to live to be a part of this life, or that according to them, they have no place, or that they are not important. To me, what you said proves that each and every one of us matters.
Everyone has a point to be here. Otherwise, they would not be manifested.
That is, if you think that you have not discovered your task at the moment, and therefore, you think that you should not exist, it means that you have not simply discovered your task.
Or your task is to strive for the discovery of your task. That is also a task. If you strive for the discovery of your task, this is also a task. And in fact, it makes sense from you, because through you all, that is, will understand how new and new tasks are discovered, even when you don't have any information about the task itself.
There's no meaningless elements and meaningless manifestations.
As well as there are no accidentally manifested, as well as no defective errors. I was a mistake of nature. Well, can I be a mistake and be manifested? Well, then there shouldn't be any point to my existence if I'm a mistake.
Okay, it's all mind. And what is the mind?
The mind is the potential through which we receive all information, and we always have access to that information. Another question is whether we will want to use it, or we will prefer to stick to our limitation, which may have some other defect here and there, but otherwise it is the perfect limitation.
Haha, well, if it was all about wishing, everyone would do it.
In fact, everyone does it. The idea is, potential constantly gives us dreams. Potential constantly throws intuition at us. Potential constantly meets us with elements that are our signposts, our reflections, to tell us what our task is. And what do we do all the time?
We reject them.
Oh God, that's nonsense.
Deja vu is the same way.
Intuition. I knew it would happen, but I did it differently. And what? At the end, we meet certain people, certain elements of all that is, which tells us what our next path is, our next task. And what do? We deny our entire environment. At the same time, we are fruit of this denial, and instead of being one is all, let's realize that we are sources. We have all the information, and in fact, we create everything around us to constantly remind ourselves of the meaning of our existence. That is, we explore ignorance itself, and this is the meaning of our manifestation, wherever it is, and starting to deny the environment.
In fact, this denial, we don't feel it immediately. It is the accumulation of denial that leads to catharsis for us. We will not get seriously ill from a single denial. But if we do it for 20 years...
So, you're so right. And now here we start talking etymology of denial. Deny, and al, hence, deny the act of doing, denial from what was said. Therefore, a piece of what we have promised ourselves has been denied. Therefore, a piece of what we have promised ourselves has been denied. And I refuse and refuse to take small pieces of the whole. But we want to be the whole. Well then, explore the whole. Explore the unknown. Explore from what you have so far. Once you explore, you are yourself. Go in the direction of all that is around me, is the unexplored self. And then we have development, a way out. Then we also have oneness with all that is. The more we explore beyond ourselves, the more likely we are to be ourselves. Because we will reach the choices we have made ourselves more easily.
Otherwise, the task of understanding who we are becomes impossible.
Exactly. And Einstein himself said it. One solution to one problem is solved.
Only by
By?
a different level from what it was created on.
Exactly. And for this reason, we should expand a little to solve our own problem. If we don't expand, can we solve our problem?
I apologize for wording it like that, but it's stupid. How can we even think that the thing we've been doing right now, if we keep doing that thing, will lead to the solution of this problem?
Here, this is the biggest question, and that's what we call security. In fact, all is mind, the world is mental, but it means realizing that we are all potential and we construct ourselves and the environment on the basis that we are the whole. And at that moment, if you think about it, what does each element represent? A limitation of the whole, but it represents the whole itself, which has decided to limit itself.
That is, it is the whole.
Both the limitation and the whole, and the interaction between himself and the other limitations he has created. Hence, both the path and the source, and life itself as interaction.
And the power that complements and opposes them.
And whether we will complement or oppose them is the given meaning that we will put, whether a pen is a weapon or a writing instrument.
Depending entirely on our focus.
And our choice, exactly.
In the simultaneity of here and now.
That's it.
I hope things are starting to become more understandable, clearer. Ask your questions boldly without any hesitation. For those of you who are worried about writing them down with everyone, you can write them to my email youronesource@gmail.com. Don't worry, we read all the comments, and I try to answer as many as possible because we are all in this together. Don't forget it. Have a nice day, everyone, and until the next video.